From Amateur Radio Newsline Report, number 2227, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. What happens when a good idea for an activation just keeps growing and growing? Undeterred by COVID-19, that's what's happening in Europe among soda enthusiasts.
This year's Austrian Soda Activities Day is planned for September 19th. It's normally a radio event combined with a social event afterward, but with the COVID-19 safeguards in place, organisers are looking for a new way to gather safely in the beer garden outside the Gasthaus. Meanwhile, soda operators in Switzerland have become inspired by the Soda Day announcement by Martin, OE5REO. The Swiss Association manager Jörg, HP9BIN, has suggested that operators there could hold a second activity day coinciding with the one in Austria. Now, soda organisations in other German-speaking countries are hoping to expand this yet further, garnering interest from Alpen countries such as France and Italy. Could this become the first Europe-wide event of its kind? One thing is for sure, on September 19th, the Alpen Hills will be alive with RF music. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
A ham station that doubled as an educational exhibit at a NASA facility is looking for a new home.
Amateur radio station KE4ZXW is leaving its longtime home at the Virginia Air and Space Center in Hampton, Virginia. Operated by the VASC Amateur Radio Group with the support of other amateur radio clubs, the station served as a real-life educational exhibit, giving school groups and other visitors demonstrations of VHF, UHF, HF, and satellite communications using CW, voice, and digital modes. The station was also capable of communications with the International Space Station. That ended on June 30th, the station's last day at the center, which is the official visitor center for the Langley, Virginia facility of NASA. The center's executive director and CEO, Robert Griesmer, said the station would be seeking a new home. It has been off the air since March 13th at the request of the center due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
It's time once again for the Intrepid DX Group's annual Youth Essay Contest. Newsline anchor Stephen Kinford, N8WB, has the details.
If you want to know how to attract more young hams to amateur radio, you have to ask the experts. The experts in this case are young people themselves. That's the rationale behind a youth essay contest launched by the Intrepid DX Group. Organizers are asking U.S. licensees aged 19 or younger to write a 2-page essay about their personal ham radio goals and their thoughts on attracting more young amateurs. Author of the best essay will receive an ICOM IC 7300. Deadline for entries is July 31st, and winners will be announced on the DX Group's website and Facebook page on August 10th. Entries should be sent in text format or as an MS Word attachment to intrepiddxgroup@gmail.com.
A final note, longtime Newsline contributor Don Carlson, KQ6FM, passed away Friday, June 21st of pancreatic cancer. Besides being one of the voices of Newsline, Don was a broadcaster and voiceover pro. He was also active in the ARRL National Public Relations Committee, ARIES, and various conventions. He was named Pacific Division Ham of the Year in 2010. Don Carlson was only 60 years old. We're proud to have had him in our family. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Ed Durant, DD5LP, Kevin Trotman, N5PRE, Stephen Kinford, N8WB, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wellbanks at E5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now here's a solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
Space weather this week is a bit of hit and miss. As we switch to our front side sun, you can see we have had a finger-like corona hole that's been rotating in through the Earth strike zone. It's been sending us a bit of fast wind and keeping us at disturbed conditions with the possibility of aurora. But it's pretty fleeting. It's not going to last all that long before things are quieting back down. Now, on top of that, we also have had some bright regions rotate into Earth view. This is including a new region. This is region 2766. It is a sunspot, but it's an old cycle sunspot. These are the death throes of solar cycle 24. So we've been watching it very carefully. And as this region has been emerging, it actually helped to launch a filament kind of in the northwest quadrant. And so we launched another solar storm, but it is not Earth-directed, thankfully, so we are in the clear. Now, as we switch to our far side sun, this is stereo A's view, and it's looking at the sun pretty much from the side. You can see those bright regions as they rotate into Earth view. They've been kind of firing off some mini solar storms here and there, including when you watch region 2766 kind of emerge in the middle of this. You can actually see a poof, and you can see that filament eruption, that big solar storm that launched that wasn't Earth-directed. The sad thing, though, is that when you look past these regions, there's really not much going on. The sun looks pretty quiet. So once these regions rotate in through the Earth strike zone, then things will settle down and it may go back to quiet. And although we haven't had many views of aurora from solar storms as of late, we still have had some gorgeous views of noctilucent clouds and of comet Neowise, like this view from Austria. And it was seen in Hungary. We saw views in Spain and down in Greece. And we've had some gorgeous noctilucent clouds as well, like these in the Netherlands. And also, the noctilucent cloud views have been all over Washington over the past week or so. And if you want to catch the comet Neowise, there is still time. So if you want to do it and you're in the northern hemisphere, you need to look to the east-northeast skies just before sunrise, and you'll find the comet between the horizon and just below the star Capella. For more details on this week's space weather, including more details on that old cycle sunspot and that solar storm launch, come check out my channel or see me at spaceweatherwoman.com.